vast majority of gun owners.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Truth Disclosure 369 in the house once again. Uh, just following up on some things. One story that just dropped today that I have to put out here. Once I saw this, I had to share it. But hopefully everyone who may come across this video are living a blessed life, regardless of the crap that's going on around us, and all things are working for the benefit of oneself and families and whatnot. And whatever struggles, whatever, hey, we gonna get through this stuff, especially staying rooted in the belief in the divine. So I greet everyone in the greeting words of peace, universal words of peace. So this has been trending all morning because this just came out this morning, dealing with the seemingly just outright telling everybody in this country, fuck you. We don't care about what the hell going on. We're gonna continue to do what we say is right. We don't give a fuck what's happening in here. We don't know, we don't care who's hurt, who's being fucked over. We don't care about that. We're just gonna continue to keep this ball rolling right here. And this is pertaining to what this administration has done. Again, this administration is predominantly being ran by Democrats, black, white, don't matter who they are, but they're voting for this shit and they're agreeing with this shit with the so-called commander-in-chief. But this is what is going on. Biden says U.S. will send $1.3 billion in additional military and economic support to Ukraine. Yet your IRS service still owes people for refunds from previous years. Yet you still have people around here fucked up. The economy is definitely in the pits. People around here in denial want to act like shit normal. We know goddamn well it's not. And throughout all of this, Biden says U.S. will send $1.3 billion in additional military and economic support to Ukraine. This is today, April 21st, 2022, CNBC article. There's plenty more articles. So President Joe Biden authorized another $800 million security package and an additional $500 million in direct economic assistance to Ukraine, while economic assistance in this country is being overlooked. Infrastructure slowly being looked at, but it's so far gone that goddamn. But how can you continue to send money over here? And where is that money coming from? That's the question people should be asking these motherfuckers. Where is it coming from? And not to get off course on what this administration doing, because this particular type of shit has been going on in each and every fucking administration at the behest of, on the backs of those who are suffering within their own country's confines. This is what all these administrations continue to do. And they continue to say, this is what we got to do. And you got ignorant people who are willing to go along to support that shit while they see they own neighbors. Whether you like them or not, you can't get away from them, they neighbors. We all live in the same country. While they'll sit here and see their neighbors get fucked over and out here struggling and all this shit, and they'll sit here and agree and talk this shit about administrations doing this. So since we're in this administration, we're gonna talk about this. $1.3 billion in additional military economic support for Ukraine. That's why I continue to send prayers and love to those folks over there who are going through, because they're being lied to, they're being used, they're being taken advantage of. You know, we're not going to be told the truth about what's really going on in Ukraine unless you happen to just go there and see it for yourself. You know, it's all type of negative stories coming out here, and it ain't dealing with Russia, it's dealing with Ukrainians and the Americans. So, you know, for them to continue to do this shit, it's like an outright slap in everybody fucking face who were born and raised here. Every time they do shit like this, every time they tell you to pay your taxes, every time the fuck they tell you to make sure we make it safe enough so you can go to work and continue to be taxed and be charged, every time they do that shit, they turn right around and they do shit like this. And this is just like what, the third or fourth time they done this shit? I mean, they want to ride on, oh, we did this stuff, we gave stimulus package during the pandemic and all that, which, you know, that helped out a lot of people. A lot of people got to understand, it helped me out. But we all have to understand that shit. Man, America ain't even got money like that. They printing this shit with nothing backing that shit up. And then the taxes that they're collecting, money they're stealing through this shit, through this IRS taxation system, they using this shit to continue that fucking bullshit. Why would you continue to send money to an area that's in a conflict, especially after you already sent money, and you see your own country, all the shit that's happening within your own borders, and you won't even address that shit. You won't even address it. You sit up here and throw money at all other areas, all other escape routes. And then ignorant people, all of us sit here and look at this shit like it's okay, whatever. No, motherfuckers gotta stop this shit, man. Motherfuckers gotta see this shit for what it is. You know, I hate that people are fucked up like that where they can't see it. But hopefully, as time goes, people will see it. And a lot of people are seeing this shit. So look at what it is, man. The latest security package, which includes heavy artillery, tactical drones, everything they always send is always something that represents death. Never sending shit that represents life, hardly. You could count that shit on one hand, but when you start counting how much death utensils and tools they send across the planet off of the taxpayers' burden, man, it's ridiculous. Look at what this shit, man, come on, man. The latest security package, which includes heavy artillery, tactical drones, come as Western intelligence warns of an intensified Russian offensive in eastern and southern Ukraine following weeks of stalled ground advances in Kiev. And so when you think about that shit, like yesterday's video I made on the looking glass, when you compare shit to stuff like that, it makes you wonder, like, goddamn, could that really be something that's a possibility? Because look at the nonsensical shit they do. Look at how this government seems to, at one minute, talk about how much they're uplifting and protecting their citizens and want the right of their citizens to be respected. At the same time, they're bending their sentences over and giving it to them without the same mouthpiece. It's like, goddamn, how can you keep doing it? So let's go into the article. The United States will send another 800 million security package and additional 500 million in direct economic assistance to Ukraine as its military fights off a renewed Russian assault. And I kind of knew that yesterday when they said, or the other day when they said that Russia, according to their shit, that Russia was starting a new offensive. Then of course they were going to come back behind and say, oh, we got to send some more money, we got to send another package, we got to do all that shit. And I kind of figured that was going to happen. Once you get used to seeing how these motherfuckers work and how they've been doing it, especially if you can remember shit from the past events and shit like that, how it was handled. It shows the same fucking pattern. Each time Americans, people who claim to be American, people who this government claim to represent, constantly get fucked over. And it's sad to know that so many people would rather relish in ignorance than rather try get some type of perspective on and other objective thoughts on what the fuck is really going on. Especially when you can see it for yourself with your own eyes. It ain't hard to see. But you know, this shit here, man, come on now. And then let me come out of here because there has been also let's see. Hold on 1 minute. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go to this. This is let me. No, I'm gonna go to another. Well, I'm gonna go to CNN because CNN and it's all this lying power. I can't believe they even had an article on this shit. But here we go. What happens to weapons sent to Ukraine? You know, like ever since these packages and all this shit started going over to Ukraine, what happens to this stuff? So, of course, this is from lying ass CNN. Let's see what they got to say about it. What happens to weapons sent to Ukraine? The U.S. doesn't really know. That's fucked up. So you mean you're not keeping track of taxpayer money and shit that y'all sending over here to these other countries and stuff? Y'all claiming it's going for a proper cause, but you don't even have recollection what this shit is. So let's go on. The U.S. has few ways to track the substantial. They can't track it, but they'll show send that shit. They can't track it, but they'll show tax your ass so they can do this shit. Get the fuck out of here. The U.S. has few ways to track the substantial supply of anti-tank, anti-aircraft, and other weaponry it has sent across the border into Ukraine, sources tell CNN. A blind spot that's due in large part to the lack of U.S. boots in the ground in the country. Now, I don't know about that because we know they lie about a lot of shit. And I think a couple of days ago, I did the one where the French reporter was speaking that the United States was really the ones running the ground effort in Ukraine. They are the ones allowing people in and across the border, not the Ukrainian military, not NATO, but the United States. People who are working in who are U.S. ex so-called soldiers and this and that are over there doing this shit, mercenaries. So to say that there's a lack of boots on the ground, how can that be when you got French reporters saying the United States running this shit, which is a proxy war? It's a conscious risk the Biden administration is willing to take. That's fucked up. So they're letting people know right there that they're willing to continue to send packages, money, stuff that has been bought or made or manufactured off of the backs of people here who don't know what the fuck going on because they listen to these lying ass people, and they are willing to take your energy, your resources that you earn, and they will be willing to give it to somebody else and not even track where this shit's at. Is it going to where it needs to go? Are the people who this was meant for using it in a proper way, no, they're not willing to do nothing. And that's fucked up. So this shit here should sit pretty heavy on people's minds, and I hope it does. You got folks out here struggling, you know, people out here looking at this system as a piece of shit now. There's trash and garbage that need to fall because you see how these motherfuckers are constantly lying and stealing from people. They're stealing from people's wealth. They're stealing from people's savings. They're stealing from people's retirements. They're doing all this bullshit. And the sad part about it, in ignorance, people are continuing to allow this shit because they won't call this shit out for what it is. People on YouTube and all these other social media guys, they do this shit. Soon as the motherfucker say something, they want to start calling motherfucker conspiracies and all this shit. They would rather sit here and call a motherfucker a conspiracy theorist for sitting up here acknowledging the fact that y'all was up here sending money over to other countries and this and that while you got your own citizens going broke, poor, starving, and you sitting up here taking shit out of your own citizens' mouths and giving it to somebody else and covering it up with lies and distortion and deception. Hell, fuck no, man. You know, it's ridiculous, man. So let me go to another one because, and this is an India newspaper yesterday. Lack of traceability of weapons supplied to Ukraine could be a concern for the U.S. It shouldn't even be like that. Why would you even do some shit like that? It shouldn't even be a common concern, because if you did shit properly and you did shit as they call it, if it was vetted right and all this other shit, you wouldn't have to be thinking on that shit. With no American or NATO troops on the ground, the Joe Biden-led U.S., which is a lie, led U.S. administration has no way of knowing how the arms it is supplying to Ukraine are being used. And that's, like I said, that's fucked up. It depends largely on information provided by Kiev to keep track of its supply. This could become a headache for the U.S. as in the case of Afghanistan. Straight up bullshit. These folks sitting up here doing this shit, man, with everybody's support and well wishing, and they're fucking everybody over, man. That's sad. That's sad. Every time I think about this and I run across when these folks put shit out here and they do make little announcements and all this shit, and then you see what the fuck they're doing. It's sad. It is so fucking sad. So let's see what this article says. Western aid to Ukraine. The White House said since the time when Biden assumed presidency, the U.S. has provided a total of $3.2 billion to Ukraine and has deployed more than 100,000 troops to countries that are members of the North Atlantic, NATO, since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th. Now, this shit been going on since February. So, you know, you look at all that money and shit they've been sending over there from that day on to now, 4/21/22. And just think how many things over here that's fucked up could have been remedied or could have been brought up to a point where people could work to start figuring out how can we remedy some of the problems here with some of these same finances. You're not hearing none of that shit. But except for to promote bullshit that's keeping the country divided. But for all this aid and weapons supply to Ukraine, the Biden administration has no way to track the use of the anti-tank, anti-aircraft, and other weaponry it has sent to help President Vladimir Zelensky in his fight against Russia. Now, I'm not even gonna continue to go in here because all the way around the board, this shit is wrong. All the way around the board, it is wrong, period. And it's amazing to see that you have folks out here that literally will stand on this shit and will argue and debate you now while they're being fucked over. Just like, I mean, we all being fucked over, but people will actually battle you to be fucked over. And that's fucking sad. Real sad. Real sad. Let's see what let's see what this article has to say. And this is USA Today. speak softly and carry a large javelin. You know, all these silly ass jokes and shit and shit that people think is humorous and funny while these motherfuckers sitting up here fucking you over and your neighbors over and all this shit. And that's what I say. A lot of people probably don't give a fuck. They probably in a better off position, don't care, but in the end, motherfucker gonna get touched. Everybody is getting touched by this shit. Speak softly and carry a large javelin. Biden unveils latest $800 million military aid package. And of course, you know, I don't even listen to this shit because I don't even think that's a human right there, to be honest. That's just, we'll get into something else if I go on that. President Joe Biden announced additional military aid. It's just ridiculous, man. It's fucking sad. How can you even sit here and respect any of this shit? White people respecting it, black folks respecting this shit. You know, some groups have a little more leeriness because of shit that they have experienced living here. But all in all, everybody's been victimized some kind of way by their own fucking government, man. And it's like, how the fuck can you sit up here and condone shit like this? And you see the state that the majority of the country is in. And that's sad. It's fucking sad. So I just wanted to share that. And while I'm on here, I'm gonna go on here because when you see shit like this happening right in front of your fucking face, where it's like your government, and you know, I'm pretty sure other countries, Canada and everybody else, they're dealing with shit. You know, their governments are passing shit to try and shut down free speech or passing shit to try and keep those that want to protest legitimate grievances. They trying to stop shit like that. And it's like, where are they getting all this authority and shit from? Who is giving these people the authority? We know that we hold some part to this shit because it's like we allow them to do it. Nobody calls it out because everybody's stuck on one side of the fence. Well, you know, I'm on this side. I'm a moderate Democrat, or I'm a progressive, or I'm, you know, straight liberal, or I'm a conservative, moderate conservative. All these fucking labels and titles and shit that everybody continue to use and keep themselves going at each other and shit. And all these other countries have similar setups with these governments. Any other party outside of that shit won't even be acknowledged, but look at this. Who's giving these folks authority to do this shit? Who's doing it? Who's doing this shit? Are elected officials that people supposedly vote for okay in this shit, or is there other elements out here doing stuff with governments that's supposed to be working for the people, supposed to be serving the people? I don't care what country it's in, but knowing we are here, we know goddamn well the government is not serving people, and people that's sitting up here saying, well, it's because the Democrats got control. The Republicans do the same fucking shit. They may have a different concept on far as you know, smaller government and you know less intrusion and all this shit they trying to legitimize, but every fucking Republican administration has done bullshit just as well as Democratic administrations as well. Those that stand on them side of the fences, anything that was done that was according to some social issue or whatever that was addressed, or financial, or you know, in taxes or whatever, anything that was done in the people's eyes who represent one of these sides of the fence, and they felt like it was good, then they attribute it to the whole fucking thing, man. It's like motherfuckers been giving people crumbs, crumb here, crumb there, while they sit up here and they give the whole shebang, they throw that somewhere else, or break off a little bit amongst themselves while everybody else continue to be fucked over. It's sad, man. So who is giving them authority like this? I mean, how the fuck can you sit up here and actually say that this government of this country, or I'm pretty sure in other countries, even Canada, just seeing the shit they going through, how the fuck can you say your government is really in alignment with the people that they supposed to be representing? So if they are not in alignment, if they're doing shit or getting influenced by other entities, then who are these? Who and what authority do they stand upon? So that was leads me to the next part of this. I'm not gonna be on here long. I just want to show it because the people don't want to understand that when you got groups, when you have shit like this, World Government Summits, when you see shit like this, and let's see, Agenda 2022. When you see shit like this that goes on, and at these summits, they have these people there. Of course, they have people there that's supposed to be government representatives. But when you see some of these people who speak and all this shit on some of this stuff, it's almost like, who are these people? When you look at them, look at it. Some of these people, chief executive of IBM, Arun Krishna, look at all these monetary fund. And you see these different faces and all this shit. But you don't see nobody that's representative of your government. But yet these groups here, these summits and shit, have people that be speaking on shit, especially when you're dealing with policy that has to do with this country or every country. Since we in America, we want to talk about America. When you're talking about American policy, how do you allow people who are not even elected officials to even be talking about policies and stuff dealing with America, which affects the people within America? So how do you have how do you have elected governments? How do you have an elected U.S. government and some point in time, which they do this shit, ain't no denying that shit, when they sitting up here listening to all these other people? Because for one example, it's Bill Gates. He's not an elected official. He's not an elected official. He's a scumbag. He's a motherfucker who got a lot of history behind him that's negative, even dealing with Microsoft. And a lot of people know what's up with him. But how did he always enter into the circle when it comes to American policy? And he's not even an elected official. So how do you even how do he even be in them talks or in them circles? And this is the same thing when you deal with these groups, like the World Government Summit, and you have all these motherfucking people coming from all around the world and shit. Let's see what their mission is: to inspire and enable the next generation of governments to become the global platform for shaping future governments. Soon as person bring up globalization or anything that's talking about the way these folks are trying to merge everybody into a one world thing, one world order or whatever, soon as you start speaking on shit like that, motherfuckers say, oh no, that ain't what it is. It's all about sustaining and ability and shit. But when that shit is when that is counteracted with policies that's actually coming out in sovereign nations governments that are against their people, then how the fuck can you even legitimize that shit? First of all, nobody should, if you ain't an elected official anyway, how the fuck you even allowing people who are not from other countries or from these shadow groups or whatever, how you are even allowing them to even make these damn decisions or be influenced by motherfuckers who basically, that shit ain't about, but it ain't about benefiting people. It's all about keeping some type of corporate and financial safety net going, in which people are getting enriched off of selling out their own fucking people, man. And that's fucking sad. So when people don't understand this shit, man, all these governments, man, be dealing with all these fucking places like this, man, and it doesn't make sense. Let's see what the organization supposed to represent. The World Government Summit organization is a global, neutral, nonprofit organization dedicated to shaping the future of governments. The summit in its various activities explores the agenda of the next generation of governments, focusing on harnessing innovation and technology to solve universal challenges facing humanity. Which that ain't going on. So what the hell are they talking about? What technology is going on that the technology is helping face challenges? When you got motherfuckers out here that's getting flooded out or got to deal with fucking lights out every time strong winds come through, and they know they got technology out here that can stop that shit. Since its inception in 2013, the summit has championed the mission of shaping future governments and creating a better future for humanity. What humanity are they talking about? And these organizations like this are the same ones that push all the shit that's happening with the pandemic, all the shit that's the fire button topics that's keeping everybody at odds, the shit that they want governments to continue to do. These are the organizations that's doing this shit. And then let's go to the most famous one that everybody heard of. The World Economic Forum. Davos. The Davos agenda. How do people like this get involved in with elected officials whom you go out and vote for? Here in the United States, you go out and vote every 4 years, for one thing, every couple years for a different thing. You go out and vote for these people. How do these non-elected individuals hold sway over elected governments? That's the question nobody wants to get on. Why is this guy Klaus Schwab and all this shit, name keep popping up? How do these people, and look, here you go, you got what we learned at the Davos Agenda podcast roundup from the Radio Davos. You got, what's her name? I can't think of her name, but she's over the Treasury right now. Janet Yellen used to be she used to be the Fed chair. And people don't understand this shit. They use these same people interchangeably in these administrations and all this shit. So this lady here is part of the Federal Reserve, which is bullshit, a centralized, private-owned banking system that responsible for printing the money out of nothing and giving people here a false hope and a government to sit up here and act like that institution is a part of them when they tell you, no, you ain't got no control over us. If people did their research, they would understand what the Federal Reserve was. And this woman here used to be a part of the Federal Reserve. Now she's over the United States Treasury. What is she doing talking with this man, Klaus Schwab, about? Nobody wants to answer that shit. Why is he always brought up in shit dealing with governments? Why? Why? What is the purpose? They sit up here and they put all these funny little things out here. Of course, you got the murderer right there. They put all this shit out here to make it seem like, oh yeah, this is what it about. But we know goddamn well that it ain't right. It ain't right. And what they're doing is not fucking right. Why you have all these so-called patriotic people and all these so-called people that claim they love their country, that claim they respect servicemen who fought and died for this country, and then you sit up here and you okay shit like this. It's the ultimate hypocrisy. And that shit right there gonna come to the light, man. A lot of people in this country gotta wake the fuck up, just like people in Canada are seeing that shit. So let's look at the World Economic Forum and look at what the fuck they talking about. They about the same group that constantly let's see, the Davos agenda. Let's see what they talking about. Nearly 2 years after the start of global disruptions due to COVID-19, economies, societies, and organizations are continuing to grapple with the unpredictable trajectory of the virus. During the week that participants were meant to come together in Davos, 21st January 22, the forum will instead host a series of virtual plenaries aligned with the annual meeting objective of orientating global leaders on the imperatives of the year ahead. Featuring a mix of visionary state-of-the-world special addresses and ambitious high-level leadership panels focusing on most of these motherfuckers are people who don't give two shits about the communities they coming from or who they supposed to be representing, because they already locked into they already locked into something in which they're getting their wealth, they're maintaining their title and their status because of this shit. And if it ain't hard to see, all you got to do is look at the shit that's been happening here. Look at Canada. Look at the shit that their prime minister was able to do, and yet nobody's able to vote these motherfuckers out because of our own fucking systems, our own setup structures. Oh, you got to wait 4 years to vote motherfuckers out, or you got to do this, or people are using constitution or different things that from the principal paperwork or documents that go with the setup of these governments. They're using different little words and different little shit to legitimize what they're doing, but in overall, what they're doing is basically treasonous. That's basically what the fuck they're doing. And then it goes on, radically different pandemic experiences have exacerbated generational, geographic, political, and economic divides. Fuck out of here. Let's go to what the mission is. The World Economic Forum is the international organization for public-private cooperation. Public-private cooperation. The forum engages the foremost political, business, cultural, and other leaders of society to shape global, regional, and industry agendas. It was established in 1971 as a not-for-profit foundation and is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. It's over there by CERN. And don't nobody know what CERN is, S-E-R-N, look it up. It is independent, impartial, and not tied to any special interest, because they are the special interest. The forum strives in all its efforts to demonstrate entrepreneurship in the global public interest while upholding the highest standards of government. I ain't even gonna go into the rest of this shit. It's bullshit. Now, this is the guy, Klaus Schwab.
Dear friends, let me share with you why the World Economic Forum can be of great service in our complex and fast-changing global system. Let's go back to the origin. In 1970, as a young professor... He
sounds like Cobra Commander or some shit, like he would be a Cobra Commander. And if that's the case, where the fuck G.I. Joe at? But goddamn, this is the shit that people continue to allow with their governments. You know, this organization directly influenced elections, directly influenced certain figureheads into governments, like they said in Canada, which Justin Trudeau, and I think the Prime Minister of New Zealand is another one. And it's like, how do you sit there and you know this shit, but then you don't even utilize your government to stop this shit? Because everybody been so blindsided with bullshit and caught up on nonsense that they not even looking at who really running the fucking show. You know, I'm a little heated about this shit because I know this is what it is, man, in my heart. These governments are not what they claim they are. They never were. And so before I get ready to go out here, I'm gonna go to this video, and it's tied into this shit about these so-called groups that, to be honest, are they the ones running the countries? Damn sure ain't the motherfuckers who motherfuckers voted for, because they show stomping over everybody, stomping on everybody's parade, who think these folks are really give a damn about them. So let's go to this, and then I'm gonna get ready to get off of here. This video I came across, this is from March 5th, but I just happened to see it today. And it's global politicians expose Klaus Schwab and Great Reset. you know, a lot of people don't think that Great Reset. They want to make jokes. Oh, that shit ain't real and stuff. But yet, everything that these folks talking about in these resets is happening around us. If it ain't happening in this country, it's happening in another country. And the plan is for all of it to happen simultaneously with everybody. So, you know, so let's go ahead and put this on. See what he's talking about. Then I'm gonna get ready to get off of here. Go back to right here.
Butterworth, or it might be Cindy Butterworth, says, where do you stand on the Great Reset the Liberals are planning on introducing? Well, let me just say that, first of all, what is this Great Reset? Pierre Poilievre, the federal conservative finance critic, recently raised concerns about this, and then he was attacked by some in the media and by the Liberals for supposedly circulating conspiracy theories. Well, the Great Reset is actually the name of a book by a very prominent advocate of it. His name is Klaus Schwab. He sent me a copy. I guess he sent one to probably every government leader around the world. And Klaus Schwab's thesis in his book is that governments and societies, the world, should, quote, seize the opportunity of the public health and economic crisis to reimagine the world and radically change policies. Now, in what ways? I would describe it as a grab bag of left-wing ideas for less freedom and more government, for more government intervention, for policies that would, I think, create massive poverty, particularly energy policies that he is advocating. So Klaus Schwab, by the way, is the president and founder of the World Economic Forum, also known as the Davos Summit. I call it the biggest gathering of global hypocrites in history. It's a little ski village in Switzerland, and every, I think, February, a couple of thousand super rich people, a lot of billionaires, millionaires, global CEOs, and politicians fly into Davos, with hundreds of private airplanes. They go into Switzerland, and they spend a week basically lecturing the rest of the world, including especially working women and men, about how they should reduce their carbon footprint. The hypocrisy in that crowd is so thick you can't even cut it with a knife. And so, no, I'm not going to be taking any policy direction from Klaus Schwab or his ilk. And what I find offensive, look, the so-called Great Reset is not a conspiracy theory. It is an actual set of concrete proposals being advocated by some very influential people, and including apparently by Prime Minister Trudeau, who clearly alluded to it, referred to it, quoted from it, the Schwab theory, in a speech he gave to the United Nations a couple of months ago. So it's not a conspiracy theory to talk about that. Those are the folks advocating it. And I think it's perfectly legitimate for democratically elected leaders, for me to say, heck no, we're not going to exploit or take advantage of a crisis to advance a political agenda. If we're actually all in this together, like we keep saying.
That brings into mind, okay, you know, the origin of the crisis. Was the crisis manufactured so that they could do this, so that they can start implementing shit? And you know, it goes, this is crazy. And you know, hopefully people will see it. But I didn't mean to stop. I just wanted to express something on what he just said, because a lot of stuff has been manufactured to create that room where they can begin to do certain things and use that shit as a crutch, use it as a means to justify a lot of this shit that they're doing.
Then how about we focus on the crisis, on protecting lives and livelihoods, helping people get through this, and how about after that, instead of exploiting the crisis to impose on democratic societies a whole bunch of failed socialist policy ideas, how about instead we get refocused on generating economic growth? on recreating some of the trillions of dollars of wealth that will have been destroyed, of restarting some of the hundreds of thousands of businesses that will have gone under, of obsessively focusing on getting the millions, the tens of millions around the world back to work. Those who have suffered most in the COVID era have been the poorest around the world. So the notion that we would then drive them further into energy poverty through Klaus Schwab's policy agenda is, I just frankly find it offensive. So no, it's not a conspiracy, and nor is it a conspiracy theory. I think it's just very distasteful and regrettable that influential people would explicitly seek to take advantage of a crisis like this to advance their own political vision and values.
Question and contact, questions and comments. The honourable member for Oshawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to my colleague's speech. I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has quoted infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was a really good question there, but the audio
Can't even
is
answer.
really bad, and the video is really bad as well. And I
Don't even want to
I
answer.
don't know if the member. Okay, let's try again. The honorable member for Timmins James Bay.
Mr. Speaker, that member was promoting open disinformation. That's not debate.
Is de heer Klaus Schwab, oprichter en voorzitter van het World Economic Forum. En hij heeft ook een boek geschreven met als pakkende titel COVID-19, The Great Reset. En mijn vraag aan de demissionair minister-president is: hoe beoordeelt hij de inhoud van dit boek?
De minister-president.
Ik ken het boek niet, voorzitter. Maar ik zou u voor mij willen adviseren om niet al te veel in al die conspiracy-theorieën. Ik kijk ze ook allemaal op YouTube. Dat is fascinerend hoe dan uitgelegd wordt dat 9/11 niet heeft plaatsgevonden of dat het allemaal anders zit. Ontzettend knap in elkaar gezet. Maar het is meestal wat het is, een conspiracy-theorie.
De heer Van Meijer.
Nou, het verbaast mij dat de eerste vraag die ik aan de heer Rutte stel sinds ik beëdigd ben als Kamerlid direct wordt beantwoord. Dank u wel, maar het verbaast mij dat die eerste vraag direct wordt beantwoord met een leugen. Ik heb namelijk een brief in mijn hand, die dateert van 26 november 2020. En dat is een brief van de heer Rutte aan de heer Klaus Schwab, waarin hij de heer Schwab bedankt voor het toezenden van zijn boek. En dit noemt een hoopvolle analyse voor een betere toekomst. Zou de heer Rutte nog even kunnen graven in zijn geheugen? Het is nog geen half jaar geleden, dus ik weet niet hoe lang uw herinneringen actief blijven. Maar waarschijnlijk is dit nog wel ergens op te graven.
You know the sad thing about it. Let me stop.
Beantwoorden en
And the sad thing about it, this man calling this man out for lying about acting like he don't know what the fuck who Klaus Schwab is, Charles Schwab, and the book that he gave him and all this shit. He basically just played with the man intelligent, trying to act like he ain't really into it. And the man had a letter showing the man, thanking the man. And you know what? This serious shit. But who you see in the background, she back there playing and smiling and giggling and shit on her phone, man. And you know, these folks are sitting up here fucking people's lives up.
Nou, het antwoord is dat dat een nette brief is. Waarin je helaas niet alle boeken die je toegestuurd krijgt gekast of kast kunt lezen, maar wel degene die je toestuurt terugstuurt.
Nou, dan zegt de heer Rutte dus eigenlijk dat hij niet heeft gelogen tegen mij, maar tegen de heer Klaus Schwab. Maar laat ik dan hier direct alsnog de vraag stellen. De heer Klaus Schwab, die pleit voor het resetten van onze wereld, om onze nationale parlementaire democratie te vervangen door een globale technocratie. Hij pleit ervoor dat er een einde komt aan privébezit. En de heer Rutte is er kennelijk niet eens van bewust dat hij dit een hoopvolle boodschap voor een betere toekomst heeft genoemd. Hoe is het mogelijk dat de heer Rutte een waardeoordeel hecht aan een boek met een neocommunistische boodschap, terwijl hij dat boek niet eens gelezen heeft?
Dank u wel, de minister-president.
it's a very pertinent question to ask, how do we build back better?
So
Build back better or whatever.
remember, we've been hearing this. Look at all these people. People should know who these folks are.
To build back better than before.
Remember the terrible damage of COVID as we try to build back from this global pandemic.
Joe Biden calls it Build Back Better.
Build back better.
Building back better.
To do things differently. To build back better.
We're gonna build it.
Everybody programmed according to one agenda.
My plan to build back better. Start taking all the problems that have been created in education and health and start
Go Bill Gates.
build back in a positive way.
I have launched a booklet.
And this is one thing I want to say too. You notice that most of the people that they're showing are liberal Democratic folks, people from the Democratic Party, people who represent the liberal side of looking at things. But this is the reality of it. Just because they're not showing no conservatives and they're not showing Republicans, as we call them in this country, that a lot of them don't have that same leaning toward that. They're not showing that. But they know goddamn well some of them folks are on that same shit. Build back better, build back better, build back, because both of these fucking parties are both compromised in all the countries. However party they want to call that shit, man. The only way you probably get away from that if you in a Muslim country and you running your country by Sharia law. And that's a different story.
Called Build Back Better, written after coronavirus.
It's about building this country back better.
Growing conspiracy following it. It is called the Great Reset.
Unprecedented opportunity.
Uh-oh.
Rethink and reset the ways in which we live.
The great opportunity for reset.
The theory even calls Mr. Biden's campaign slogan, Build Back Better, in front for the conspiracy.
Build back better.
Building back better our economy.
Build back better.
All elements of the Great Reset are fundamental to building the future we need.
This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset.
Look at Cobra Commander.
To, some would say, to build back better.
So I'm gonna stop right there. People need to start seeing this shit for what it is. Like I've been saying, hopefully people become aware. But I just wanted to share that, especially after that news came out on once again money being thrown out the door while people this government is throwing money somewhere else while their own people are sitting up here going through shit. And it's disgusting to see it. A lot of people in denial about it. But goddamn, oh shit. Just got something's going on in Berkeley, California. They got a campus-wide threat shelter-in-place order. This just was issued. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick before I get off of here. This just came in. These folks gonna be trying to do everything in their power to continue to keep people distracted with shit. Let's see what we got going on. All right. Let's see what's going on. This just came, this is one of the articles, this just came out within the last hour or so. Students advised to shelter in place, in-person classes canceled after active shooter threat. Don't people see what the fuck going on? Like last week it was like 3 fucking major shootings. I mean, it's every week is something. It's like motherfuckers can't never get over one thing or get over one fear mongering thing that, you know, is being pushed out here. Yeah, you got crazy people out here. You got people that's clocking and all this shit, but a lot of people don't want to really go through the source of why all this shit is happening. Oh, it's the devil, it's Satan. Well, why the fuck are y'all running behind motherfuckers that are the devil them goddamn selves? That's what I don't get. People quick to jump on that, but then they'll sit up here and they'll focus, they'll put their energy in supporting and speaking on behalf of motherfuckers who are doing devilish and satanic shit. And then want you to listen to them when they try and break down religion or try and come at you with some type of religious rhetoric on, you know, man, that's why a lot of people ain't paying attention to none of that no more. Because it's hypocrisy, it's lying. People starting to see that maybe the reason why motherfuckers the troubles people are going through is not because motherfuckers not trying to live better and do better. It's actively because your own fucking governments are doing this shit and causing it. And I just wanted to bring this to the front today after that shit. But yeah, this is something that's going on. It looks like they got a active shooter situation. We'll see what the hell happened behind that. This just came in Thursday, April 21st, a minute ago. So we'll see what's going on with this. But with that, I'm about to get up out of here. Greet you in the greeting words as I came, in the universal words of peace. Much love to everyone. Wish the best for everyone. And that truth will come out. Darkness will fall.